Let's get speculative today. Let's really indulge into some Pokemon hype and conjecture, because I'm still feeling super excited after those trailers. I am feeling the wave of Pokemon. I even got back into Arceus over this. I've been playing Arceus again, which I feel like is kind of unbelievable for me. But so today, let's talk about specifically not just the origin of the Pokemon, the new Pokemon. There's only 5 new Pokemon actually revealed in this trailer, but let's talk about, you know, what could come of these. Because, you know, go watch one of those videos, like with the origin of them, where the meaning of the word comes from, and why they're designed like this in a region like Spain. But let's dive into what could. You know, what could be? Where are these things going? Because I think there's some pretty meaningful hints and clues about what is going to come of these Pokemon. Specifically, what are they going to evolve into? And then even more speculation, more conjecture. I want to talk about regional forms that could be in this unnamed Gen 9 region. And I think we have some pretty good leads on that front too, even though there's much less information. But so let's start with the one that I am the most mid on, which I know. I'm not sold yet because it is the Rattata Pokemon of this gen, Lechonk. Play on words from the Lechon meal. And yeah, this is the Rattata that was shown in the first trailer. It's a normal type. It's a small little critter, and it doesn't seem to have much going on at first glance. But you know, it's little. It hasn't reached its potential yet, and I think that the big hint here in what it is going to evolve into is its primary ability. So it has Gluttony as one of its abilities, which is usually, unfortunately, an ability reserved for shitty Pokemon. Looking at you, Pampor. It's not great. Gluttony is not good, but it also has Aroma Veil, which it is explained as the you know, the aroma that the smells that Lechonk takes on, you know, doing its thing, looking for fine foods out in the wild. But that's usually an ability reserved for grass types, and this, I think, is the most potent clue as to what Lechonk is going to evolve into. You know, some sort of maybe like grass pig, you know, something akin to Greedent. I think that the Greedent there was really a missed opportunity not giving it a secondary typing, and it honestly kind of falls flat as a Pokemon because it was just, let's take Squovit, which is just a squirrel, and make it bigger. Let's just lean into this relatively uninteresting gimmick. It's not fantastical, and sometimes that's fine. I like Raticate. I think it's a big rat. That's awesome. It's got big teeth, and it's a big rat, and Greedent is a big squirrel. That's fine, but the Aroma Veil ability here that's usually reserved for grass types. That's really leaning towards grass, and you know, it could be like Greedent of grass type, and I'm not exactly sure what that would look like, but it almost, for me, almost confirms it getting a secondary typing in grass. Another idea that I've heard floating around, which I think is much more tangential, but is just interesting, is getting a second evolution based on the phrase "when pigs fly," and I don't know if that would get a fairy type. I feel like that's incredibly wishful thinking, but you know, it could grow wings. It could be we could have like a Salamence effect going on, but I don't think that there's any evidence there based on its current design. It is based on a popular meal, and it has an ability that is to do with you know, smelling nice and you know, grass types in their flowers. So maybe it totally embraces that, and through eating these wonderful things, it eventually like gets some grass type going on for itself. Additionally, it's probably only going to get one evolution. The Rattata type Pokemon very exclusively get one evolution. You know, Patrat, Watchog, Rattata, Raticate, Zigzagoon, Lanoon. It's not going to get 2 evolutions. Whatever Lechonk evolves into will be its final form, just by Pokemon history. And if they break that rule, well, I guess I suppose that's when pigs fly. To be topical. Looking at the next one that I do like pretty well. I actually really like is Smoliv, and you know, this has clearly got something going on with like Spanish olives, which, you know, I googled Spanish olives, and it was pretty much all like BuzzFeed-ish articles where it's like, Spanish olives, you simply must try. Okay, Spanish olives, yeah, this is clearly a thing going on. I mean, it's the olive Pokemon. Interesting though that it is grass and normal. When I look at Smoliv, it seems like something that would just be grass. Like I'm getting Badoo vibes here, but grass normal, the addition of normal type, maybe it's like a Zurl and it's gonna lose normal type and maybe get a different typing. That would be pretty exciting, I think. Or, you know, it could just lean into this and become more and more grass. But I have a hard time seeing that happening where it goes from grass normal to just an exclusively grass type, because Smoliv is clearly a baby Pokemon, or reminisce of baby Pokemon because of its features. It's got like the Sobble frown, the tiny little eyes, and only has 2 legs. It looks extremely similar to Badoo, which is a baby Pokemon. This is not in any way, shape, or form a confirmation that Smoliv is a baby Pokemon, but it may see like that baby-like progression, because like Bonsweet is also there, not at all a baby, and it evolves into Serena, which is monograss, of course, but like this like giant kicking Empress with the special Trop Kick move, and you know, maybe it goes down that route. I don't think it's very likely that it leans into anything with wine just because it's Pokemon. I think that is not even wishful, just unrealistic. It's Pokemon and they know their demographic. Probably some, you know, large grass creature. I don't see this one getting too outlandish at all. It's an olive, and it's probably going to evolve into a humanoid olive creature. Another piece towards this is the ability that it was listed as with Early Bird, and there are 2 other grass Pokemon that are pretty similar to Smoliv that get Early Bird as well, which is Sunkern and Seedot, and both of these match Smoliv's profile. They are small grass types who are, you know, based like on very one-for-one representations of plants. Seedot, clearly an acorn. Sunkern, you know, sunflower going on, a little tulip bulb right there. And then they evolve into humanoid grass types, and Sunflora is monograss, but it's still, you know, a humanoid grass type. It gets arms, it gets legs, it gets like whole legs instead of little stubs like Smoliv has. And then Seedot gets a dark type, which I've always thought is so cool. You know, Nuzleaf and Shiftry, even though Shiftry is not that great, getting the dark type is super cool there. But they both become humanoid, and they take on traits that were not at all similar to Seedot. But I see a ton of Seedot, I see a ton of Sunkern, I see a ton of Badoo here, and I think that we're gonna see, you know, something very similar happen. It might get a second type. It might even stay grass normal. It might get a something different going on. But at the end of the day, this is very clearly a, you know, like a little stubby, no appendages plant that evolved into a humanoid grass, like some sort of like fighter. I don't know. Sunflora looks more like a lover than a fighter, but it's still, it can do some things. It can pack a punch every now and then. You know, it uses Solar Beam, but specifically Shiftry, Roserade, and Serena. Those are all probably in the wheelhouse of Smoliv. Smoliv is probably not going anywhere that unexpected, because this is a pretty common. It's archetypical at this point. The things that I've been describing is the kind of bulb plant evolving into a big humanoid creature. So, not too much going on there, speculation-wise. Pretty sure this one is already in the books. You know, but these types of Pokemon are great. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. Roserade is awesome. Serena is awesome. Lilligant is awesome. Lilligant's kind of in there. Hey, it's Lilligant's in there. Serena, awesome. Shiftry, awesome. Sunflora, awesome. And it might get 1 evolution. It might get 2. But based on the baby, the more baby-like features of it, it's probably going to be 2. Right, and then the one that I like the most, which I am the most unsure of, I would love to hear ideas and speak on ideas on this one, is Pawmi. I like this one the most, but I think I know and can, like, read into this one the least so far. Like, it is listed as a mouse Pokemon. I'm not even sure. Every information source that I looked listed a different rodent for what Pawmi is based on. I think it looks most similar to a chinchilla, but I heard many different rodents listed in people's like own assessments of Pawmi. It's clearly got a lot of fluff. It's a very fluffy creature, and but it's just a mouse. You know, Pikachu is listed as the mouse Pokemon. Sometimes Rattata is listed as the mouse Pokemon. And so I don't think there's a ton to look into here. This one might not even get an evolution. Morpeko didn't get an evolution. It got 2 forms. I think that Morpeko does a really good job of being a Pikachu clone, but also not being a Pikachu clone. It's significantly different. Being a dark type Pikachu clone is like, wow, that's new and exciting. It's got its own exclusive move. It's got a really cool ability that allows it to change forms, and it's got super interesting coverage. Morpeko is not like other Pikachu clones, and yeah, it almost escapes that title in a way. And I don't know if Pawmi is on track to do that. I think it's interesting. The only notable piece of information here that makes it different from Pikachu is that it has Natural Cure. And lots of different Pokemon get Natural Cure, but it could, because you know, Static, that's just Pikachu right there. Like if it just had Static, well, this is Pikachu again, but instead of a, I don't know, whatever type of mouse Pikachu is, it's like some sort of, it's on 4 legs instead of 2. This is all-terrain Pikachu. But Natural Cure, it could be, it could get a Fairy type, it could get a Grass type, it could also get nothing at all. Morpeko didn't get anything, Emolga didn't get anything, Plusle and Minun didn't get anything except for each other, you know? And Pikachu is like, I don't know, they hate Raichu. they hate Raichu. They like Pichu pretty well, but they don't like Raichu at all. Togedemaru didn't get anything. But I do think another point that bears mentioning is that the rival in the presumed rival, the friend who's like, oh, you're looking pretty cool today with the green bangs. She looks awesome. By the way, she throws out a Pawmi as one of her Pokemon, and you know, usually the progression with the rivals, like they, you know, little Pokemon like this, they usually feature evolutions, or Pokemon that can scale with the player, because the rival usually tells a story with their team. Like Silver, for instance, and how he eventually learns to love Pokemon, and like in the final, he has a Golbat almost the entire game, and then in the final one he has a Crobat, and it like, this beautiful little story about how this angry little man learned how to love Pokemon. And this doesn't necessarily have to do anything with Pawmi, but the fact that she was shown with a Pawmi makes me feel more believable about it evolving, because, you know, it's got some progression there. But that's not always the case. Sometimes Pokemon are just cute, and they stay that way. Okay, so those are the 3 new ones that were introduced, you know, with their whole typing and abilities and some stats shown about them. Less information was given to the cover art dragons, and I think that for these, you know, even the type isn't even known, so it's really hard to, you know, read into their origins outside of, this one is a bike, this one is a jet. And I think that a form or some sort of alteration is relatively possible here. I said in I've said in other videos and on stream that I think they are reminisce of Solgaleo and Lunala in the Ultra series games, because the whole story isn't being told here, but parts of it are. You know, they're vehicles. They're very much based on vehicles, and you ride vehicles. You ride vehicles. It is my guess that we're going to ride these Pokemon. Maybe they have a different form. I'm not as hell-bent on that as I am that they are ride Pokemon in some way, or there was like some sort of ancient hero that rode on them. But because we don't have the types, we only have their names and the really high-res designs, there's not a ton to go on here, unfortunately. And they're also legendaries. You know, this is their final form. They're powerful, they're these dragon-looking creatures, and they're probably based on vehicles. That's all we got so far. Okay, so those are all the new Pokemon that were introduced, and, you know, just as a fun bonus, and just, you know, just looking into the details of the region, clearly we are going to get regional variants. Pokemon loves doing regional variants. They had their regional variant tech demo in Sun and Moon. It was originally reserved exclusively for Kanto Pokemon, but now it's all over the place. You know, Zorua, Gen 5 Pokemon, got a regional variant, and I think that Gen 6 Pokemon are probably just around the corner. We might even get Gen 6 Pokemon in this game, and I think that's extremely likely, in fact, that we get Gen 6 regional variants in this game. And like to start with, one detail that I thought was interesting was that Tauros was not shown in any of the trailers. Tauros has not been seen, but there was a child wearing a Tauros t-shirt, and it looks pretty similar to Tauros, but it's also an outline. I'm not saying that this is going to be a guaranteed Tauros evolution, but clearly Tauros has cultural significance in this region, and history of bullfighting and bulls in Europe is complicated and controversial, and has been an ongoing subject of debate. So some people think it is of great cultural and historical significance, and some people are embarrassed by it. And across Europe, the tides on that shift. But clearly in this region, which is it is based on Spain, pretty assuredly, but it is also like its own thing. Like every other Pokemon region has culture. Tauros has cultural significance here if a child is wearing a t-shirt of it, and it is prominently shown to us in this trailer. Tauros could get a regional form here, or Tauros could even get some sort of evolution here. And I think it bears mentioning that they have given this treatment to every Gen 1 Pokemon at this point that doesn't have an evolution. Every Gen 1 Pokemon that came out in the original games has gotten either a regional form or an evolution. So they all have the capacity to evolve into something now, except for the legendaries and Tauros. Farfetch'd was in there up until Sword and Shield, and now Farfetch'd has Surfetch'd. Tauros is the only unevolving Pokemon that was left untouched. And like Magmar, even this is a while ago, like Magmar got Magmortar, and Snorlax, even though it's in the opposite direction, got Munchlax. So there's babies, there's evolutions, there's regional forms. Tauros is the only Pokemon that is still in its Gen 1 format, and this is probably going to change in these games. The Tauros shirt practically confirms that for me. And on the side of Tauros, I think is like an interesting point bearing mentioning. This is something that seems to be very divisive deep within the Pokemon community as to whether or not it is actually the case. But some Pokédexes and also their like gender difference links Tauros and Miltank very close to one another. Tauros can only be male, it's bulls. Miltank can only be female, and they're not forms of each other, even though it's like a little bit insinuated that they are, but they're definitely different Pokemon. The only way to get a baby Tauros is to breed it with a Ditto. Which I am fairly certain is absolutely the case. The information was very divided on this when I was trying to look into the Tauros and Miltank connection. And some Pokédexes have them, the Sun and Moon Pokédex has them like closely linked, and in the games that had horde encounters, when you can get a horde Tauros, sometimes a Miltank shows up. So they're at least hanging out in the games. They're like geographically associated at least. Miltank like Tauros. That doesn't mean that they're actually connected though. They're not actually connected through the data of the Pokédex the way that like Illumise and Volbeat are. They are specifically connected. They're specifically variants of each other. But clearly Tauros is going, like, Tauros is on a shirt. Tauros is going to be in this game in some way. It probably means that Miltank is coming too. And Miltank is also in that boat of older Pokemon that haven't received any updates, and at this point are like fairly outdated. It didn't get a Mega. There's no baby form. There's no evolution. There's no difference since the original games. So Miltank is probably coming along with it. I think it's less likely that Miltank gets an evolution or a regional form, but it's definitely on the table. Miltank could definitely use it. It could definitely use a power spike, something to bring it back into the spotlight. Same way that Tauros could. So fairly certain on Tauros. It's definitely it's iconic in some way in this region, and where Tauros goes, Miltank usually follows. And they both are that normal Pokemon, no evolution, nothing changed since they were introduced, and they're kind of falling behind in that way. I mean, if you're falling behind Farfetch'd, you probably need to step up your game. And then beyond that, things get a little more, I guess, up to your imagination after that. The One thing that I'm fairly certain of that occurred to me recently is, and the reason why I think that Gen 6 regional variants will appear in this game is because of, Kalos took place in France, and this game it was based on France, and this game is based on Spain, and those two locations, I mean, some of the games that were based on regions of Japan were of this way, of course, but they've never done a country that is based on a country like these two bases are geographically right next to each other, and they share a lot of the same geographic similarities. And like one I would point to in this specific relation is Go-Goat. Go-Goat is a grass type, like goat-looking Pokemon, but it also seems to have inspiration from the Ibex, which is that's an animal of interest from the Iberian Peninsula, and they're known for their like gigantic horns, which Go-Goat has. By not only are they you can find them in France, but you can find them in Spain as well. So, and this could just be Go-Goat being in the Pokédex, but it could also be having a different form of Go-Goat, like a much rockier, grittier mountain Go-Goat, because the Ibexes in Spain, they look very like, I don't know, they look grizzly almost. They look grizzled, and so it is my thought that we would definitely see Go-Goat in this capacity, at least in the Pokédex. But this could be the beginning of a Go-Goat regional form where, I don't know, you still get like the normal Skiddo, but it evolves into probably they would both be whatever the type is, but like rock or fighting Go-Goat or something. I mean, rock fighting Skiddo, something actually like relatively similar to Terrakion, like a very grizzly looking, maybe more pointed horns, or like more curved horns than Go-Goat. And sometimes with the regional variants, like, they're just like ideas, they don't actually have to do with the region. Sometimes they do, but like I don't know, like an idea that comes to mind is just like Electrode, like in Arceus, where it was just like, well, we want to have Electrodes, so let's just move Electrode into the time period. And there was no other reason for Electrode to exist other than like, oh, we want that, and that's cool, that's fine, but it's pretty hard to predict. Like, I was not foreseeing Electrode, because Electrode is like a very machine-based Pokemon, and then it shows up in this game in the past where it's like, oh, now it's a wooden ball, it's based on the balls of yore. So it's pretty hard to predict with these things, but they love regional variants. Regional variants are probably going to show up, and their close association, close regional proximity, a lot of the land is similar in France as it is to Spain. And we just saw Gen 5 regional variants. It's been 3 gens. It's been I think it's been 9 years since X and Y, and there's some Pokemon in there that could use some updates. There is a another one that comes to mind, but is not I don't think is incredibly likely or anything, but one that I think would like be a cool concept would be Hawlucha, because Hawlucha doesn't have an evolution. Hawlucha was really awesome when it came out, and I don't really honestly even understand why Hawlucha came out when it did, because like there's nothing going on there that originates in France, and it's based on a the luchador of Mexican culture. And with that though, wrestling, and not like lucha wrestling, like WWE wrestling, is extremely popular in Spain. And not that means that there'd be something there, but Hawlucha is a Pokemon that meets the I don't know, the kind of hidden requirements to get a regional variant. And there's some stuff going on. There's some stuff going on for it culturally. This is not an explicit, I think we're gonna get Hawlucha, but it's on the short list of Pokemon that I would pick, that they can add dexterity. They can add more complexity, not dexterity, to a already relatively beloved design that could either use an evolution, a baby Pokemon, or a different form of it somehow. And it's usually those types of Pokemon. They don't have any evolutions, they don't have much going on for it, like statistically, like, I don't know, Dunsparce. Dunsparce could use some work. I don't think that we're getting a regional evolution of Dunsparce. That one seems relatively hard to swing. If we get Dunsparce, look back on now and say, Drew, you fool. And I don't know, it's always fun to dig into these, like what regional evolution, what regional forms, because we're definitely getting regional forms. That much That much I can guarantee. What regional forms do you think we're getting? What new evolutions are you getting? Where are these Pokemon going? What other sort of Pokemon do you think we're gonna see? What sort of, you know, landmark, or not landmarks, but like animals of interest, cultural icons of interest? Because you know they draw a lot from there. Like, what do you think's gonna happen? Let's lean into the conjecture while we got the option to. And if you haven't already, slam that MFN like button and subscribe to keep checking out the videos, because more on the way. See you later, y'all.